Hi, today I'm going to review The Crown by Kiera, and I'm kind of going to delve into the Heir a little bit too, since it's a two-parter. Interestingly, it's not a three-parter. I kind of thought Kiera would go that route, kind of like she did with The Selection, The Elite, and The One. But she went with just two books, and it's probably a good thing. So let's get started. Stuff I want to say, I love the world of The Selection. The first three books were so good, a little cheesy at times, but what YA isn't that involves romance? But overall, it's one of my favorite series. I own all three of them, plus The Heir and The Crown, and I also own The Siren, even though not my favorite book of all time, not even close, because the covers are so beautiful. They're like the most beautiful covers of all time. So I recently, when I got The Crown in the mail, I was so excited because I got to like line them all up, and I was like, here's my collection. I'm so into e-readers now. I don't buy a lot of books anymore, but I will make exceptions for really nice, beautiful covers and books that I just love, that I want in hard copy. I'm kind of glad I've gone that route, just because if I had continued to buy books at the rate that I was buying books before I got an e-reader, I would not have room in my house to walk. So it's probably a good thing. But anyway, I'd like to preface this review with saying that I loved The Selection. I love the world of The Selection, and that world continues in The Heir and The Crown, and I still enjoy that world, albeit it's a bit more peaceful and a different world, which I find to be one of the problems with this book. The Heir I really liked. The Heir was American Maxon's daughter, is Princess Edlin, and she does her own selection. Mostly as a distraction to the people of Amelie, so that they can distract them from the real problems going on, which is kind of a weird way to do that. I actually kind of would have been okay with a sequel with Edlin being American Maxon's daughter, not involving a selection, maybe just more of the world and the politics. I think that could have been an interesting story, but to do a rehash of basically going from The Bachelor to The Bachelorette, I'm just not into it. But I was really excited to get back into this world. I love the characters. I like that we got to see more of a mature America and Maxon and their love for each other. That seems to just go on, and it's so beautiful, and I really loved that. Also, truthfully, was a really big fan of Edlin. A lot of people don't like this book because they couldn't relate to Edlin, but I really liked her. She was kind of a bitch, particularly in the first book. She was like not likable, but there was something kind of good about that because she was able to be redeemed in the second book and towards the end of the first book. She became more likable, and she really like reflected on herself and really grew as a person, which is something I always appreciate in a main character. So I kind of liked that about her. What I didn't like, and I felt was a little unnecessary, was the romance in this book. To say what romance? Truthfully, I didn't even see her choice coming at the end. To be a little spoilery here, she chooses someone, and I'm like, really? There was something there? I didn't. And you know, it's kind of like, you didn't tell like 70% into this book. It's like, I don't think she's gonna pick anyone, which I was kind of excited about, because I was like, this might be like kind of a neat book. Like maybe she'll choose herself, and you know, she'll do this whole thing at the end with her rule, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. But of course, in the end, she picked someone, and I didn't see her clicking with any of it. I wasn't even upset by her choice. Like I wasn't like, gosh, I wish she would have picked someone else. I just wish she wouldn't have picked anyone, because it just didn't sit with me. I just didn't believe that it was real, and I just, like, she didn't need anyone. Why? Don't do that. Just be yourself. You got enough shit to do to run the country. So I was a little disappointed in that, and I just didn't feel like it was very, I just think, I love Kiera, but I feel like she just did a really bad job of like building that relationship to the point where I was like, huh? What relationship? Where did this come from? Like, you can't just develop it in one chapter and then expect us to all jump on that ship, you know? No thanks. Isn't anyone I would have picked that was better. I just, like those were my options? Where are you going with this? Usually there's a kind of a clear line. Like with The Selection, it was pretty obvious that America and Maxon were gonna end up together, and it was like this whole 3 books of drama and like all this intrigue with the fighting that was going on. It was just a really good book, and then you have this whole terrible thing going on with Maxon's father, the king, who's like really evil. This one, it was like her, Edlin's like I guess adversary in this was just another boy who was like trying to bribe her into being prince, who wasn't in the selection. And I was like, really? That's gonna be your enemy? That's who we're rooting against? Is just some random dude? Some like other 16-year-old that you can't take down? Not buying it. Not into it at all. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5. I felt more like a 2 out of 5, but I gave it a 3 because I like Kiera Cass, I liked the world, I liked Eadlyn, and it was an enjoyable enough book to get through in like a day and a half. And for me, that always deserves some credit if it's a good enough book to like take me out of my world and into the book world, and it did. So obviously there's a lot of plot there that was developed in the first 3 books, so I can't particularly rate that all alone. If I would just picked up The Crown randomly, I probably would have given it like a 2 out of 5. Also, these books are like a year and a half apart, and Kiera Cass did a really bad job of like reminding people who other people were. Like Harry Potter, who was like a huge deal by the 7th book, J.K. Rowling still took the time in the first few chapters to like reintroduce us to like characters subtly and like plots that were going on. This one, it was like, nope, I hope you brushed up on the last book, you know, enough, because I'm not going backwards at all on this one, you know, good luck catching up. Like, I felt like I had to kind of reread the Heir before I even like delve into The Crown, which is not my favorite. I don't want to reread that, you know, it wasn't that great. So overall, I mean, I love the series. I think it's a great idea. I'm glad she did the sequel. I would have gone in a different direction, but I'm not the author, so she can do whatever she wants. I think she has immense talent. The Siren I didn't like, but it was a book she wrote before she even wrote the selection. Kind of just had a re-release date, so I give her some slack there because it was her first published book, which I don't think a lot of people really realized when it re-released. So either way, that was my review of The Crown and the Heir by Kiera Cass. If you're looking for a fun YA that has a little bit of romance and a lot of intrigue, please pick up the selection. It's a really good trilogy. And then if you feel like you're not done with the world of Aaliyah, please pick up The Crown and the Heir, because they were good substitutes or good sequels for that series, but not the best thing I've ever read, that's for sure. And that's all I have. More book reviews soon. Bye.